Hello everyone! Today in Jazz Analysis we are going to analyze one of the most important and most beautiful song that ever made in jazz music, which is called Autumn Leaves. So please subscribe to my channel if you don't want to lose any chance in order to know more about jazz harmony and jazz improvisation and jazz analysis, of course. So first of all, when we want to actually analyze one piece and one song in jazz, first of all we have to look at the key signature. Key signature here is actually has one sharp, which means we are in G major or its relative minor E minor scale. So, let's start and dive into the harmony. First chord is A minor 7, second chord is D7, and third chord is G major 7. First thing that we have to consider in order to analyze these kind of things is the roots movement. Roots movement of these chords are fifths apart. I mean the second chord is fifths below the first chord, and third chord is fifths below the second chord. So these kind of movements are very, I want to say that, so popular in jazz music, which is called 2-5-1 in this particular example. So what is that? What is 2-5-1? Maybe you heard that sometimes in the past, and you maybe wonder too what is the really what is that really, and what we should look at this. First thing, when we see G major scale, we can see that G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. When we try to actually see the seventh chord of that, we can see that the first chord is G major 7, A minor 7, B minor 7, C major 7, D 7th, E minor 7, and F sharp minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished. So when we first thing we should know is what's the Roman numerals analysis, if you would possibly see that. First chord, which is major, is 1, second chord is minor, third chord is minor, fourth chord is major, fifth chord is 7th dominant, sixth chord is I want to say that minor, and the last chord is in this scale is half diminished or minor 7 flat 5. So 2-5-1 is when we put 2, when we collect 2, and after that 5, and after that 1. 2-5-1 in this particular scale is 2 is A minor 7, 5 is D 7th, and 1 is G major 7. So when we look at this, and we look at, of course, the root movement of these chords, we can see that these are actually continuous in fifths below, goes to the fifths below of the first chord. So this chord is second chord of this G major scale. Second chord is the fifth, and first chord, of course, the G major, so third chord is 1. So we have 2-5-1 here. So we assume that first scale that we can improvise on this bar with G major. So let's look more closely to the, I won't say that, on the C major 7 here, on the second line. When we look at the G major scale, we can see that the C major chord actually has been built in, was built in the fourth degree of G major scale. So we can see that this is the fourth chord of this scale. So that means on A minor 7, D7, G major 7, and C major 7, we can, the first possible choice in order to improvise is G major scale. We can use G major scale in order to improvise more properly and correctly on these bars. So, the F sharp minor 7 flat 5 is the 7th chord of the G major 7. But where does the B7 come from? And we have E minor here. Well, one thing we have to remember is the 2, 5, and 1. Sorry, I should write it like that. When in this kind of harmonic movement, actually built in one specific scale, which is harmonic minor. So, in this example, in this song, we can see that F sharp minor 7 flat 5, which is F sharp, A, C, and I want to say that E. Okay, these chords actually, the notes of this chord is actually exist in the G major scale. We can see that this is the 7th. But when we look more closely to the B7, the next chord, which is B, D sharp, F sharp, and A, we can see D sharp here. And of course, the last chord is E minor, which is E, G, and B. When we collect all of these notes here, we can see that, maybe we assume that we are in E harmonic minor scale. Actually, this is E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, and D sharp. Okay, we can see that the second chord of this scale, this particular scale, is F sharp, half diminished, which is F sharp, A, C, and E. The fifth chord of this scale is B, D sharp, F sharp, and A, which is B7. And of course, the first chord is E, G, B. Of course, if I want to make the 7th, this kind of chord called minor major 7, E, G, B, and D sharp. But here we don't have any 7th note here, so we can possibly play. We can see that it's a 2, 5, and 1 in E harmonic minor. The first possible thing is that when we want to improvise on this kind of song. But another thing is happening here. When we look at the notes here, we can see that we have B, C sharp, and D sharp. Where does C sharp come from? C sharp here comes from the E melodic minor. So if we want to improvise based on the composer's, I want to say that point of view, we should possibly, another, I want to say that possible choice is we play E melodic minor here. So on F sharp minor 7 flat 5, we can see E harmonic minor. We can improvise on E harmonic minor. On B7, if we want to actually knows, I won't say that deeply, if we want to know more deeply about the composer's kind of point of view, and with notes below this chord, we can possibly use E melodic minor scale, and in E minor we can both play E harmonic minor or E melodic minor. So let's go to, of course this is going to be repeated. After that, here we have 5 and 1 in both harmonic minor or melodic minor as well. So let's look more closely to the, I won't say that, upcoming bars here. We have F sharp minor 7 flat 5, flatted fifths. We have B7 flatted ninths, and we have E minor. So here, as I actually mentioned before, we are in 2, 5, or 1. But here, because of the B7 flat 9, this kind of chords only exist in harmonic minor. So with high probability we can possibly use E harmonic minor here. So on F sharp minor 7 flat fifths, B7 flatted ninths, and E minor 7, and of course to the end of this line we can play E harmonic minor. So here we have A minor 7, D7, and G major 7, which is 2. You can see that this is 2, 5, 1, exactly like the 3, like the, I will say that, bar 1, 2, and 3. We can play G major scale here. Of course, the upcoming bars are F sharp minor 7 flat fifths, B7 flatted ninths, and E minor 7. Here, because of the E minor 7, we cannot use E harmonic minor here, but this is the F sharp minor 7 flat 5 flatted fifths is the second and fifth chord E of E harmonic minor. But after that, on E minor 7, we should possibly play another scale, because as I mentioned before, here on E melodic minor and E harmonic minor we don't have E minor 7 chord. Remember that. On the harmonic minor scale and the first degree of harmonic minor and melodic minor scale, the first chord is minor major 7. So we cannot use this scale on minor 7 chord. Okay, let's go back here. We have E minor 7, we have A7s, I don't know where does it come from. We are going to dive in to this kind of specific harmonic movement here to look more closely. We have D minor 7, G7s. So where does this kind of things come from? When we look at these chords, we maybe one of the scale that actually we assume is we have D minor 7 and G7, which is fifths, perfect fifths below. So this is the fifths of C major scale. Okay. When we assume that and we want to play the C major scale here, we can see that the E minor 7 is a third chord of the C major scale as well. But where does A7s come from? This kind of harmonic movement, we can see that D is the perfect fifth below the A7. This kind of harmonic movement, we call that, this kind of material, we call that secondary dominant. Secondary dominant is when we possibly, for example, we use E minor 7 here, and after that we want to actually play D minor 7 here, and we want to actually resolve this perfectly, resolve it more smoothly. We can possibly see D minor as a D major or D harmonic minor and play fifth chord, and I want to say that the dominance of this chord actually we are going to resolve in. So here, what does it mean? That means, for example, in here we have E minor 7 and we have D minor 7. Here we assume that for a second that we are in the D major or D harmonic minor or possibly D melodic minor, and when we look at the D major, we have D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and C sharp. The fifth chord is A7. We call that secondary dominant. This chord actually exists on harmonic minor, which is D harmonic minor, which is D, E, F, G, A, I want to say that B flat and C sharp. Well, you can see that we have A, C sharp, E, and G here. And again in D melodic minor is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, sorry, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C sharp. We can see A, C sharp, E, and G here. So this kind of chord we call that secondary dominance, and if we want to analyze that in a jazz music or any kind of music, of course, we are going to mention that as a fifth chord of its resolving chords, which is 2. So here on A7 we can possibly play all of 3 scales here. So on E minor 7, let's recap on that. On E minor 7 we play C major 7, which is the third chord. On D minor 7 we of course play C major scale, which is second chord, and on G7 again we play C major scale, which is fifth chord of that scale. But on A7 here, because this chord actually does not exist in, I want to say that on C major scale, we should possibly improvise another scale on this chord. I want to say that on this chord. So we can possibly play, let me clear that a little bit. You can see we can play D major, D harmonic minor, and D melodic minor as well. So let's go to the two last bars here. We have F sharp minor 7 flat fifths. We've seen that before a lot. This is the second chord, this is the fifth chord, and this is the one of, because of the B7 flat ninths, we can see that we we can play, and we of course should play a harmonic minor scale. So let's look and recap of this autumn leaves, this wonderful song. You can see that on the first bar G major, we can play G major, second bar G major, on third bar we can play G major, and on the fourth bar we can play G major as well, and on the second line I mean. On F sharp minor 7, B7 and E minor, we can, of course, possibly play E harmonic minor, and specifically on B7 and E minor here, we can play E minor melodic as well if you want to play and want to see the point of view of the composer. Because of these notes here, we have B, C sharp, and D sharp, which exist in E melodic minor scale only. So after that we have B7 and E minor, which is the same here. We can see that on the previous bars. Go to the fourth line here. We have F sharp minor 7 flat fifths, B7 flat ninths, and E minor. Because of the B7 flat ninths which exist in harmonic minor, we can possibly assume that we have to, and we of course we can, play E harmonic minor on these 4 bars. The upcoming line is A minor 7, D7, and G major 7. As is actually, this is the same as the first bars of this song. This is the second, fifth, and first chord of G major scale. And of course, we can play G major scale here. But I won't say that. Please, if you have any question about this A sharp, you can actually don't hesitate, please, to contact and to ask question. So on the upcoming bars, we have F sharp minor 7s, F sharp minor 7 flat fifths, B7 flat ninths, and E minor 7. Because of the E minor 7, we cannot play E harmonic or melodic scale here, because minor 7 chord does not exist in these scales. So F sharp minor 7 flat fifths, B7 flat ninths, we played E harmonic minor. Here in these 2 bars we can play C major scale, but here on A7 we have to play and improvise on D major, D harmonic minor, or D melodic minor scale only. So let's look at the last line and the last bars of this song. F sharp minor 7 flat fifths, again second, B7 flat ninths, again fifths, and E minor, again the first chord of E harmonic minor. So hope you enjoy that. Please stay tuned for the next episodes and look forward to analyze more jazz standards pieces. Good luck.